coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmet's casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Tick. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just drop. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted to come around.
Welcome. This is FantasyFling with DFS Army for another Week 9 cash game review. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. It was a positive week in cash, back on track. And even a little single entry variation off a cash game review that we are going to do because made some monies in that. So let's get into it. And kind of look at the cash line and see right where that was, which you could see this is the single entry $25 double up. So this is what didn't cash these lineups. Oh boy, that's a big name there. Didn't cash. And this is a cash lineup about 125 points. So we had, let's see if we could find something that's terribly wrong with this lineup. I would say Michael Thomas. This is probably why this lineup did not cash. Michael Thomas was low owned, and there were just better options around that salary range. This lineup has no Demario Douglas, who was the chalk. This is something that we have spelled out for DFS Army subscribers on the chalkboard. It'll tell you Demario Douglas, $4,000 player. He projects well, 12 points. He is 20% owned. So this is going to kind of tell you a lot of the best plays so that you don't make that mistake of playing a player who is low owned and, kind of ends up crashing your lineup because they don't get any targets. They get 0 points. They snowflake and hardly any of the field played them. So when you got a guy like Demario Douglas, who's going to be 20% owned, you know that if he does do bad, well, 20% of the field played him. So it's not going to hurt you as bad as, playing a guy who's a 7% owned player. Also, the reason why 20% of the field played Demario Douglas is because he was in a really good spot because Kendrick Bourne went on IR. Devontae Parker was out. He had already saw like 6 targets a week prior. So, we knew he was in a good spot to get a lot of targets in this game. And he did, I think 10 points, 11 points, whatever it was. That was all you needed. So, we do cheat sheets. We do video breakdowns. We're looking at the best plays, but a lot of times, one of the most valuable tools for a DFS Army subscriber is the chalkboard. So you can go here and kind of see who the field is on. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. Jalen Hurts does have a better floor than Lamar Jackson. So, for me here between these two guys, this was a pretty easy decision, as we're going to see when we get to my cash lineup playing Jalen Hurts. But yeah, the pay up option being AJ Brown, you pay down. There's your pay down option to Mario Douglas. We're looking to eat running back chalk. We got good value here, right? Devin Singletary, we got Rashad White, Chuba Hubbard. So this was coming up in optimals, which is another thing you have as DFS Army subscriber is the domination station. So you can run optimals. In fact, I'll probably run through that here in a minute and back test a little bit, kind of show you what I mean. But yeah, you see these chalk value plays when you're hand building, you could do a Josh Jacobs, right? And then you can maybe afford Alvin Kamara and you could just still do a pay down option. That allows you to also get another pay down option to Mario Douglas, AJ Brown in there. Now you got Jalen Hurts. now you're looking for a pay down option at tight end and defense because those are the positions of the highest variance. And this is kind of how you're going to piece together your cash lineup. So the chalkboard is a very valuable tool. It'll show you the good chalk to eat, some of the best plays, what the field is doing. We're not looking to pivot in cash games. We're only trying to beat 50% of the field. So keep that in mind. People always think that, they need to pivot off of what the field is doing. You're not trying to win first place. So save that for tournaments. That's where you're going to look for pivots. And even small field, kind of like a variation off your cash lineup. So this was more or less, these were some of the plays that I was on last week. So one thing I like to do that kind of helps me piece together my cash lineup, I will zero out tight end and will not play double tight end. And I will, go to some plays that I really like, smash a like or an adore on them. You can see I got an adore on AJ Brown. You could do love, like, none, whatever it may be. Click optimize, see what it spits out. And you kind of look for the optimal plays. Is there going to be a 3 running back week? Is there going to be a 3 wide receiver week? What is the optimizer showing me? What is coming up with the best projections? And you can really just kind of pick your cash lineup this way. This is one way to do it. I typically hand build it, but I also go to the optimizer to see kind of what it's telling me some of the best plays are. Now, should have ran this in server mode because it's faster, but I don't want to stop it and restart it. So we'll kind of see what it gets us here. So yeah, these are some Dak Prescott lineups who did really well, right? In fact, if we sort by, since we're back testing this, we could sort by final points and see what it does. So yeah, Dak, Kamara, White, AJ Brown, Demario Douglas, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz, Josh Jacobs, Patriots. So this would be like 145 points. This is just running the optimal, which will guide you in the right way more times than not. Another one here. This is probably more of a lineup that I would have played. I don't think I would have played Noah Brown because he was too low owned for my taste in cash. But Wandale at 3,500, I would have played him. I pay down at tight end Cole Kmet, 10 targets prior week. This is exactly the kind of lineup I'd play. And you'll see it's kind of similar to what I ended up going with. So, in fact, we will go over to that. But yeah, this is a tool. As a DFS Army VIP, you have this in addition to Chalkboard. Use code FANTASYFLING if you want to try it out. 10% off a VIP subscription. We also have a free month in the YouTube offer. So if you want to try it out, we have a free promo. Check the description. So this is going to be the lineup that I had. I won most of my head-to-heads, I think about 80%. And then I cashed in the double up. So overall, it was a profitable day. 131 points. As we just saw, the cash line was about 125 points. That's right where people won or lost. So this lineup that I went up against, not a terrible cash lineup. I think the biggest difference here is I didn't love Zay Flowers this week as much as I did in other weeks. So Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that I went with. And once the value, I didn't love Singletary, but he was only 4,300. So what I really loved about playing Singletary, and this is kind of, when you just have to think about overall lineup construction. If I pay down to Singletary, I can get Jalen Hurts, I can get Alvin Kamara, I can get AJ Brown in, and I can get Josh Jacobs. So I really liked just that combination of players. I felt like it gave me the floor that I needed to hit the cash line. And really, if you take a look at it, with the exception of Devin Singletary, I got double-digit points in every spot. So even though Alvin Kamara dudded, I still got enough floor that I was able to hit the cash line. So Hurts did really good. That's what you want for a cash game quarterback, 25 points. That's about what he averages. So that's why he's one of the best cash game plays each and every week. AJ Brown, same thing. He has been smashing. So you kind of want to just lock in these points, the targets, the upside, floor, and ceiling, you know that you're going to get good floor. 19 points, that's not going to win you a tournament, but it's going to win in cash games. And Demario Douglas, like we said, great spot, as we saw on the chalkboard. David Njoku, I liked him versus the other options, and having the salary with Singletary and Demario Douglas and Wandale, I felt like that was better than just completely punting at tight end this week. So, and it certainly paid off because I needed those extra points. And then, Jacobs, he smashed. We loved him all week, loved him in all formats. And then the Packers D going against Brett Rippon at home, that was kind of a no-brainer for me as well. So good week in cash. And then one thing I want to talk about, this is something that I always say, like, this is kind of where you want to live, is playing these small field tournaments. Like, these are kind of a variation off your cash lineup. You will notice in this, I did play a lot of chalk. So a lot of these guys were really chalky because they are the best plays. So in these kind of tournaments, you're really just kind of looking for, 1 to 2 pivots, right? And really the difference was I love Stroud this week, and he was kind of a single entry 3 max kind of player for me. So he was the contrarian play, him with Tank Dell, and which really I expected Tank Dell to be more owned than he was. So I really just thought between Stroud, Dell, and Schultz, that would kind of set the lineup apart, and it certainly did. I had thought I might late swap because I was like in 6th place in the afternoon games, with the afternoon games left, and I wish I had given it a little bit more thought and did a little bit of swapping and got to AJ Brown and Josh Jacobs, and I would have took this thing down. But it is what it is. You can't second guess it, right? But overall, ate a lot of good chalk in this lineup. This is 272 entries, $50 entry fee. So I like these kind of contests. I've mentioned this before on the Millie Maker review, and on this show, is like, these are going to be a variation off your cash line. I definitely play these type of contests. They're very profitable. And in fact, the guy that won, he had a very similar lineup to me. And that was one of the reasons I couldn't get leverage on him, because in the afternoon games, he had Jonathan Taylor as well. So when he flipped the cards over, I was like, damn. But he had CJ Stroud, Jonathan Taylor, Kamara, Tank Dell, Douglas, Schultz. So very similar lineup. But, one of the biggest differences is obviously the defense. Having Barkley kind of crushed me. But these are the kind of contests that you want to play for, that are going to be a variation off your cash lineup. 1 pivot is really all you need to win a contest of this size. So definitely something you want to play. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you for joining me. As always, I will see you back next week for another weekend review. Best of luck, everyone.